Many Tudor prisoners entered the tower through the Traitors' Gate, carried in by boat along the Thames. It was here in 1536 that Anne Boleyn was executed. Unfortunately, we were not able to go into the chapel as it was being refurbished, but this is the outside, and at the end, behind these walls, Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, Thomas More and many others are buried. They say that this is the execution spot of them all, including Margaret Pole, who was a 70-year-old woman of Plantagenet blood. The walls tell stories. Tudor prisoners scratch their names or mottos or coats of arms into the stone. These are literally voices from the past. I then walked in to an exhibition where they show instruments of torture. This one, I can't even imagine how one would fit in there. It's just horrendous. And then, of course, we have the infamous rack. Apparently this is a representation and not one that was actually used. And we have some depictions of prisoners on the rack, and then we have some depictions of wall carvings and scratchings.
Yes, we managed to get out without being tortured.
Had a great time at the Tower of London, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to actually share this book with you as well. It's called Tudor Executions, From Nobility to the Block by Helene Harrison. But what I quite like, it's got, see if I could focus, there we go. It's got a little block on the spine. I have started this book. I haven't finished it totally. It's one I've always said with non-fiction books, sometimes when they're like this and they're separate chapters with different topics or subjects or people, then I do tend to read them sometimes out of order. I read the ones that I want to read first and then go on to the next. Now we do have the contents page here, and we have 11 chapters, and it ranges from Edward Plantagenet, Earl of Warwick. So of course we have, I read the Queen Anne one first, then Catherine Howard, we have George Boleyn and Jane Boleyn or Rochford. I really like the way this book feels in my hands, and I really like the way it's written. It's by pen and sword, and I don't know, I just love this font or typeset or whatever you call it. I found it really easy to read, whether that is because of the author or a mixture of everything, but I find myself really enjoying this. Now, it does go into talking about the executions of these people, but also goes into the background of said person. It does have sections where there's illustrations in the middle of the book. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they don't put the pictures in the actual section. I don't really know. Perhaps that's a publishing thing. I don't really know. But if you're fascinated in this kind of subject, then I definitely recommend this book. There is no sort of like gruesome details of executions, but this one from Margaret Pole, I'm going to read you a little bit of it. There is no surviving record of who was actually present. These accounts from several sources suggested that Margaret's final minutes were awful for her and for the people witnessing the execution. The execution of Margaret Pole is one of the most difficult to read about. An older woman who has given so much to the dynasty and had already lost her father to the executioner's axe in 1478 and her brother in 1499, as well as her son in 1538. Her own end was ignominious, protracted, in all likelihood painful. A blundering youth was chosen, who literally hacked her head and shoulders to pieces in the most pitiful manner. She died a truly awful way, a poor end to a distinguished life. Even before reading this book, I did read that it took several goes to remove her head from her shoulders, and poor lady. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye now.